Oh, what an amazing episode that was. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, it's me Gamerturk and episode 9 for Art Online Alternative Gale Online, titled 10-Minute Massacre, was a blast to watch. Probably my favorite episode in the series so far. We got a huge name drop from the main series, we get to see the true nature of Pitohui on the screen for the first time, as she was, wreaking havoc there, and on the opposite side of the map, another massacre was happening with Team LF. The episode starts, once again, exactly where we have left off, and here the crowd are incredibly misled, thinking Pitohui is the incapable princess getting in the way, as, was suggested in episode 7, before we heard MMTM leader David's story. And then we cut to the ambush at hand, and goddamn, this is by far the best action sequence I have seen in this series. I love Pito and M's conversation right at the beginning of the attack, after the hail of bullets, how Pito, is disappointed that M survived, and now that she won't be able to avenge him. But the craziness is not really there yet. Another Kanzaki Alpha song starts playing in the background, similar to episode 5's final confrontation, and M starts the party with 2 of his grenades. While everyone is focused on the waterfall, the nameless mercenaries take care of 4 people up top, but what follows is the highlight of the episode, and probably this series up until now. Pitohui tells everyone to not back her up and goes in on her own, annihilating the entirety of the remaining and unsuspecting enemies one by one with incredible brutality while having an absolute blast. Now, that is the real Pitohui there. The amount of fun she's having combined with the action here is absolutely incredible to watch. She doesn't even use her own weapons in this sequence, just pay attention. She starts by bashing this guy's head to the rock, grabs his weapon, kills the others with said weapon, drops that weapon and just goes full devil mode, kills another guy by bashing her knee to his face, crushing his arm, grabbing his weapon and cheerfully killing more people, now with that weapon instead. Hiding behind a rock, she throws a body to confuse the enemy in the heat of the moment and killing the last guy by grabbing his shoddy and blowing his face off, and her doing all these things so naturally is absolutely amazing to follow. And as a neat little detail, in this picture you can actually see the guy's left hand getting blown off as well, because he was holding his face with that hand in the previous shot after Pito smashed him with the back of the gun. Killing one more survivor with that gun, she just grabs his grenade and throws it to where 2 others are hiding. And then she just proceeds to torture the remaining 2 guys, which I have to admit, when the guy asks if she had fun tormenting defenseless people, her answer is quite appropriate really. They were the ones who grouped up in a battle royale game to defeat 6 people as a team of 35. And of course the neat little detail when M tells them to tell their leaders to resign, as Pito doesn't want them to do that because that just means less people for Pitohui to kill. Her reactions come off so natural throughout this short sequence, it's just absolutely amazing. I mean, I always loved all the voice actors in Sword Art Online anime adaptations, but some people just shine so much as a combination of their voice and the material given to them, and Yoko Hikasa as Pitohui is absolutely one of those special combinations. As for the scene that follows, it's all pretty clear, but I still feel like I need to mention something. You can see the leaders not being able to react properly to Pitohui's sniper shots. Well, as you may have imagined maybe, Pitohui is using the no bullet line tactic here obviously, so they do not even know where Pitohui is shooting from. Not knowing the exact angle, naturally they can't properly hide themselves, and the last guy is just hilariously resigns before being killed. Before cutting to Team LF, we get a name drop for Sinon and her Hecate in the lobby from the audience. But Team LF made it into the dome with 3 other teams here. MMTM made it down the mountain and are just on the northeast of the dome, while Shink is just south of it. The question here is, why did LLENN even enter the dome? Well, you see, that is pretty simple. The dome is a huge structure. Going around it not only would cost more time, but also puts LLENN and Fukaziroh to come across one of the 2 favorites, MMTM if they circled around the north, and Shink if they circled around south, which was the main deciding factor here. LLENN just didn't want to face the other top tier players and put herself at risk by doing that before reaching Pitohui. In fact, you can pause the screen over here and read through their thought process on the screen. Overall, it was just the safer choice to pick. I'm sure most of you glossed over this detail, but being in tall grass, it is very easy to lose your sense of direction. That is the reason why they have been using their bullet lines to show each other a straight reference line, but things go slightly wrong as Len comes across one of the scout groups searching for them. Throughout this entire sequence, you see Len being worried about her bullet count, so keep that in mind, not just throughout this episode, but possibly next ones as well. But I'll talk more about that in a bit. There's also a running joke by Fuka at this point that once she gets discovered, she once again tells Len to leave her to die and save herself instead, similar to the previous episode when her legs were cut off. But Len grabs an item from her item box, and this is a suppressor for her P90. In fact, this is the same suppressor that we saw in episode 6 when Len was buying her second P-chan. The P90 on the shelf was specifically advertised as being sold with a special suppressor. While this doesn't cancel the bullet lines, it does suppress the muzzle flash, as well as making sure the gun is a little bit more quiet, which is a neat detail as I'll explain in a bit. This is followed by another reference to episode 7 when Len told Fuka that she wanted to practice a specific tactic before we were promptly cut off. This is that tactic. And at this point I'll go deeper with my explanations because there are a couple of mechanics in play here that a high-paced action scene doesn't really get a chance to showcase, unlike a book. Knowing the mechanics in play, however, makes you realize that this is an extremely possible scenario. The pink smoke naturally meshes well with Len's pink outfit, so she is technically invisible here. And of course, the other teams now have to be careful because they are working with each other to not shoot each other. Remember that friendly fire is enabled in Squad Jam, and of course at this point it's effectively 1v18 as Len is the only person who can shoot without being afraid of shooting an ally, while the others need to confirm it's Len first before being able to shoot, which puts them at a significant disadvantage here. Since the smoke is quite effective, even Len is having issues seeing clearly, hence why she tells Fuka to stay down, mainly because she instantly shoots when she sees a silhouette in sight, not caring who it is. And this is the point where the anime skips a point from the novels as well. Initially, the enemy team was not producing bullet lines to not give away their locations in thick smoke, but eventually one guy gave up due to the stress and started firing thinking he heard Len. That was the point it all went to true shit for them, as the person who he shot responded with firing himself thinking it was Len shooting at him. And being 3 different teams meant they could not really communicate with each other through their communication devices. This eventually steamrolled into a huge shitstorm with everybody firing at each other, causing tons of bullet lines to follow for Len. In fact, she even lies down on the ground for a while in the novels and lets friendly fire do its thing and then, clears up the remaining bullet lines, which was omitted in the anime. And yes, she is still counting the bullets she has left. Also, her violent actions here giving a great tip to Fuka, but that is not the highlight of this scene. This one right here is. As Fuka gets assaulted by this bald guy without guns, she stumbles and the guy trips over her, leading Fuka to have the advantageous position where she pulls out her gun. She empties the entire clip, but it becomes very obvious that Fuka doesn't really know how to aim a handgun properly, as the guy is not even hit once. But mentioning that the body remaining on the field for 10 minutes after death and the things he would do in that time really triggers Miyu in a wrong way, so much that she grabs an assault rifle from the barrel and uses it as a fucking sword, showcasing her skills from Alfheim Online in the most hilarious way possible, of course. In fact, in the novels, the guy didn't die here and Fuka actually tortured him for a while for his intentions, and the guy was saved by Len shooting him just outright to kill him out of mercy after seeing the situation. To be frank, this scene just showcases Fuka's resourcefulness so well. She can make you suffer in any way possible when she wants to, and let's not forget, she does still have a knife that she uses to bind her hair. But of course, Len counting only 17 death signs makes it very clear somebody survived, and that somebody is Clarence right here, the person who made a cameo back in episode 7, and the person who is going to be joining Fatal Bullet with DLC 2. And with Clarence, we get the payoff for LLENN's bullet count obsession, as she realizes that the bullets Clarence uses are the same ones for her P90, so she makes a deal with her. Yes, her, because despite what the look of the avatar may tell you, Clarence is a female, the exact opposite situation of what Kirito went through in Phantom Bullet, looking like a female. The interactions and faces here are overall hilarious as always, but before LLENN can grab the magazines left on the ground, Clarence realizes that they are being attacked and sacrifices herself to save LLENN. And that brings us to the ultimate reveal, that when Team LF decided to enter the dome to avoid MMTM and Shink, they didn't factor in one key detail, and that is that both Team MMTM and Shink also can enter the dome right after them. And of course the closest one of the two teams are already here, MMTM. But where is Shink, I wonder? Throughout this video I actually hinted at more things than what you probably realized at first, but I recommend keeping all the information in mind here, no matter how unimportant it may seem at first. As I said in my very first episode, I will be mentioning a lot of stuff in these videos, but none of the stuff I mention will be without a purpose. All of them, from what seems like an obvious reference like the Sinon name drop, or a very subtle hint at passing, like... well, I'm not gonna specifically tell that, of course. But before I answer some of the questions that didn't quite fit the narrative of the video, episode 10 is titled The Devil's Return, or according to the official translation, The Devil's Comeback. Honestly, I prefer Gishimenaz's translations more than the official ones at this point. And obviously, as I referred to Pitohui earlier in this video, the devil in the title refers to her. Her time of action is not yet over, and we will see a familiar face that she will have to butt heads with. And now I'd like to answer some questions from you guys. There were questions that I couldn't really fit into the narrative of the episode, so I'm responding to them here at the end of the video. First off, is Sword Art Online Alternative Alfheim Online possible, since Fuka keeps talking about it, by SCF Hash? The answer is not currently, no. Such a series does not exist in the light novels, which is what the entire franchise is based on. However, a similar concept, Sword Art Online Girls Ops, focusing on the adventures of Leafa, Shilika, Liz in Alfheim Online, and the new character Lux that you may know from the games Lost Song and Axel World vs Sword Art Online, and another new character called Gwen. Other than that, in terms of alternative as a series, there is SAO Alternative Clover's Regret that takes place in a game called Asuka Empire, one of the games that Yuki and the Sleeping Knights have played before Alfheim Online, that once again features an entirely new cast of characters. Another question was from Fujikaru: do you think both Team LF and PM4 has more plans to fight each other in a future episode? Well, the thing is, I can only answer this based on my assumptions, since I don't really have specific spoilers about events in the future. But to me it looks like LLENN was pretty clear that her plan for Pito was the Pink Smoke Assault, which she has already used. From the looks of it, Fuka still has 3 to 4 smoke grenades left, but I don't see them using the same tactic there. And even if they did, remember that Pito surely won't care about friendly fire and will just shoot at everything in sight, so maybe this was a blessing in disguise for Team LF, who knows. As for Pitohui, I don't think she'll have any sort of plans in general, she just goes all out anyway, so the final fight should really be interesting, with both sides seemingly having no plans to deal with each other at the moment. And the final question, once again by SCF Hash: is Clarence important, or was she a one-off character, and Shelby? I think you mean Shirley. Where's Shirley and her team? I'll just say that Clarence will be back in the next season, but for all intents and purposes she is out of Squad Jam 2 and won't be coming back in this season. As for Shirley, in the last episode they were just south of the dome, but retreated to the east side towards the landmark I mentioned in the last episode. But hey, that's been pretty much it from Sword Art Online Alternative Gale Online episode 9, 10-minute Massacre. Fun fact, Crunchyroll actually did mess up the title for this episode and shared it as 10-second Massacre, but hey, when are the official translations ever accurate anyways? I mean, The currency in Aincrad is a literal abbreviation of coins of radius, which abbreviates to coal with an L for some reason. Amazing job there, Yen Press. Amazing job. Just follow SAO Wiki and their translations in these cases. I can guarantee they are 100% more accurate than the official ones. Anyways, if you enjoyed these videos, please do like, share, and hit that subscribe button and bell icons to get notified next week when I talk about episode 10, The Devil's Return. Remember that you can support my channel directly and help me make these videos better by contributing to my channel on patreon.com/Gamerturk. As usual, a huge thanks to my patrons, Tiffany and Candela, as well as the amazing SAO Wiki overlord, Gishimenas, who helps me with the accuracy of all the information you hear in these videos, instead of studying for his own exams. Sorry for asking so many questions, Gishimenas. You can find him on Twitter at Gishimenas, and you can follow at SAO_Wikia for all news regarding SAO. And of course, you can find me on Twitter at Gamerturk95 and on Facebook.com/Gamerturk. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.